These are the ingredients you will need to make South African milk pie or Melktert. You will need 3 eggs, 1 milliliter of salt, 5 milliliters of vanilla. You can use essence or extract or oil, whatever vanilla you have. Sugar, 200 milliliters. Butter or margarine, 2 tablespoons. Milk, you'll need 1 liter and 125 milliliters. So 1,125 milliliters of milk. You'll need flour. Use light flour, the ones you make cookies with and snacks with. You'll need 80 milliliters of flour. Cinnamon. Cinnamon is for sprinkling, so you'll throw it on top. And then cornstarch. Cornstarch, you'll need the same amount as the flour. So 80 milliliters of flour and 80 milliliters of cornstarch. If you do not have cornstarch, you can use double the amount of flour. You will also need to make the crust of the pie. You can use any kind of cookie that you find. Today, this is the cookies I have in my house, so I will use this. But you can use coconut cookie or digit, any cookie to make the crust. Okay. So the first step is to put your 1 liter of milk in a pot on the stove. Make sure your pot is big enough because you will add things to this pot. So 1 liter of milk into the pot. To this, you add 2 tablespoons of butter or margarine. This is a tablespoon, so 2 of those. Just estimate about amado. It doesn't matter. You're going to turn on your stove on a low heat. So not fast, very slowly. A nice low flame. It has to boil slowly and not stick to the bottom. Don't let it burn. So use a wooden spoon or a plastic spoon to stir it often. Don't scrape the bottom, because if the milk sticks to the bottom of the pot and you scrape it off, little brown pieces will go into your pie. So just stir lightly through the milk. While your milk is warming, you can prepare the rest of the filling and the crust. Be sure to come and stir it often. Okay, while your milk is boiling, you're going to make the mixture that goes into the milk. Let's start with flour. You need 80 grams of flour, or not 80 grams, 80 milliliters. So I'm using this measuring cup. This is 60 milliliters. Scrape it off so it's level. So that's 60. I need 20 more. So I'm going to use my measuring spoon. This is a 15 milliliter measuring spoon. So I'll do 15 and a little bit round like that, so it's about 20. That makes 80 grams of flour. I also need 80 grams of cornstarch. This is the cornstarch. So this is my 60 grams. Scrape it off. You can use a knife to make it level, or the side of the pack. And then I need 20 milliliters more. So I'm going to use this spoon and round it a little. So it's about 20 milliliters. So that's my flour and my cornstarch. Then you need 200 milliliters of sugar. This cup is a 250 measuring cup. So I'm going to use this and just not fill it all the way to the top. I don't like the pie to be very sweet, so I put a little bit less sugar than the recipe says. Oh, that's too much. So this is my sugar. I fill it about that much. I'm guessing about 200. You can be more precise, but I've made it many times, so I just make it out of my head. I don't use the recipe so much anymore. Then you need 1 milliliter of salt, plain salt. 1 milliliter is just a pinch, so this much salt. Let me stir my milk. Okay, don't forget to check on your milk often. Please don't let it burn. Okay, so we got flour, cornstarch, sugar, and salt in here. Then let's get to our, that's all the dry ingredients. The wet ingredients, you need 3 eggs. 3 eggs. You just crack them in there. 1, 2, 3 eggs. Then you need milk. Remember I told you you needed 125 milliliters more. That's half a cup. I'm gonna use my cup measure and fill it up halfway. But you can use, if you have a half a cup measure, you can use that. That's about half a cup in there. Nice and messy. Just wipe my hands. Okay, I spilled some milk here. Okay, then you gotta mix this up. You can use a hand whisk or an electric mixer if you have one. Hand whisking is fine, just make sure there are no lumps in here. Oh, we also need to add the vanilla, 5 milliliters. Vanilla makes it taste amazing. If you don't have vanilla, you can leave it out. It will still be good. Or you can also use almond, lemon. Okay. Got 5 milliliters in here. Oh, it's coming out so slowly. And I put that into there. And now we're ready to mix. The hand mixer to get all the lumps out. If you don't have a hand mixer, just use the whisk. My milk is starting to get hot, so I just keep stirring it until I can see it's boiling. When it's boiling, it's ready for you to add your mixture. Okay, my milk's not boiling yet, so I'm going to use this time to make my pie crust. So as you can see, my milk has started boiling now. So it's ready for me to add my custard mix, my Melktert mixture. So what you want to do is slowly, slowly pour it in and stir at the same time. Pouring and stirring, pouring and stirring. And you will see it will start to get thick. Pour and stir, pour and stir. Make sure I get everything in there. And then now you have to keep stirring. Don't scrape the bottom. Just stir lightly. Make sure your stove is on a low heat. You see it will become thick. Now you got to stir and stir and stir so you stir all the lumps out. If you see big lumps, you can use a whisk to get it smooth. You gotta stir it until it starts bubbling. It makes big bubbles like lava. When it starts bubbling like lava, it's cooked all the way through and you know that the eggs are cooked. The eggs is what makes the custard thick. This is almost like a custard or a crème pâtisserie. You see it's becoming nice and thick now. If I stop stirring, you see it's bubbling. Big bubbles, you can hear it. And that means it's ready. The moment it starts making those big bubbles, it's ready. Don't cook it much longer because then it might burn at the bottom. So now you can turn off the stove. This mixture is now ready to go into our pie crust. Okay, to make a traditional cookie crust, you just need any kind of cookies and some melted butter or margarine. You can use any pan or bowl to make your pie. If I make it for friends to take away, I just use these ones or a plastic bowl. If I make it for my family, I use a nice bowl or a pie tin, a traditional pie tin, which today I don't have one. So if you are in a hurry or lazy, just take your cookies and pack it at the bottom and around the sides of your bowl. But if you want to do it the nice way, put all your cookies into a bag, add the melted butter. This is maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons, not too much. Put it into the cookies. Close the bag, and then you use your rolling pin or whatever you have to smash them up. If you have a food processor, you can throw your cookies into the food processor and just chop them up. I don't have a food processor in Korea, so I do it the old-fashioned way. I'll finish hitting these and then we'll continue the video. Okay, when it's ready, it should look something like this. The pieces should be fine and the butter makes it stick together if you squeeze it. So empty this into your baking tray or pan or whatever it is you're using. And now you have to flatten it around the edges and at the bottom. Use your fingers. It should be about 1/2 centimeter thick, not too thick. Once again, if you're in a hurry, you can just pack the cookies like I did when I made it for our class on Thursday, because I had little time in the morning. But this is the traditional way to make a pie crust. If you buy a pie crust on coupon, this is what you're gonna get. It's called a graham cracker crust, because in the US, they mostly use a cookie called a graham cracker to make this crust. I really like using coconut cookies. It gives a nice flavor. But I just buy whatever is cheap or whatever I have in my house. I can use it. Try and get the edges at the same height all around. If I'm in a hurry, I don't care about it. But because we're making this for your class, I'll try and do it a little bit more nicely today. So just press your cookies, make a nice straight edge. If the cookies doesn't stick, it means you have too little butter. But try and use as little butter as is necessary, because if you use too much butter, it tastes greasy. You can use this pie crust for any kind of sweet pie. So apple pie, blueberry pie, any sort of pie you make, you can use a cookie crust. There we go. Sort of level, thin all around. And now it's ready for us to put in the filling that we made. I'll get it. So this is the filling we made. Don't let it sit and cool off. You have to do it while it's warm. Then scrape your filling into your pie crust. If your milk stuck to the bottom, don't scrape it off. Leave it there. Today mine didn't stick, so it's good. I can easily scrape it off. You want to use your spoon to level it out. Until it's nice and level like that. And then comes the cinnamon. I really like cinnamon, so when I make this, when I make the crust, I sprinkle some cinnamon on the crust before filling it and put cinnamon on the top. If you don't like cinnamon that much, you can just put cinnamon on top. Oh, just sprinkle. And that's it. This is how you make South African milk pie. Now it needs to cool down, so you can either put it in the refrigerator or leave it on the cupboard, and it will be ready in a few hours. When it's cool, you'll be able to slice it into nice slices. Traditionally, we make it in a round pie dish, so you can slice nice round slices of pie. But I don't have a round pie dish today. And if your recipe was right, it will become completely stiff and you can make nice clean slices. The one I made for class on Thursday was a little too soft because I didn't use enough cornstarch. That's it. I hope you make it. Try, it's easy, it's cheap, and send me your pictures on the group when you're done. God bless you, everybody. Enjoy your pie.